Thanks everybody for joining. Apologies for the ever so slightly late start. Nicola and I were having a few technical difficulties that we were hoping to iron out before we admitted everybody into the room. Um, but it's not been entirely entirely successful, but we're going to do our best with what we've got today. Prynawn da, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this Wish North Wales webinar, which is entitled Ready to Make 2026 Your Year. Let's Power Up Your LinkedIn Presence. So I'm Caroline Stubbs, I'm Chair of Wish North Wales, and I'm really pleased that so many of you have been able to join us today from organisations across the whole spectrum of social housing. It's lovely to see some familiar faces as well as some new ones. And I'd especially like to welcome anyone joining us from the other side of the border. It's always a pleasure to have our English, and I hope we've got some of our Irish and Scottish colleagues with us today, hopefully. We always love to see you all, so thank you for coming. For those of you who don't know, Wish is a membership-based organisation for women who work across the breadth of roles connected to social housing, from frontline housing professionals to architects, lawyers, developers, and beyond. We currently operate in 11 regions across the UK, and we provide networking events and online sessions for women to inspire, inform, support, and provide opportunities for us to come together in a space that's warm, welcoming, and not intimidating. And our purpose at Wish is to empower women through our networking activities, and we champion equality across every discipline of the social housing sector. We're hoping that you'll come away from today with some really practical tips and tricks to help you elevate your personal profile on LinkedIn, but also to be able to boost your organisation's reach as well. We're really fortunate today to be joined by the one and only Nicola Griffiths. Some of you may already know Nicola, as up until very recently, she was one of our board members at Wish North Wales. And she was also, until recently, the Senior Marketing and Communications Officer at ADRA, which is a housing association here in North Wales. And she's recently started a new position as Marketing Project Manager at Museum Wales. So Nicola really knows her stuff. I can vouch for that because she's done sterling work for our LinkedIn profile here at Wish North Wales. And I can say with confidence that she's going to give you some really insightful advice and help today. We really are happy to have you, Nicola, and she's very happy to take your questions at the end of the session. So either pop them in the chat or when we get to the end of the session, pop a hand up and we will put your questions to Nicola. So that leaves me to say that on behalf of Wish North Wales, we hope you really enjoy this afternoon, and I'm going to hand over to Nicola. Diolch, thank you.
Diolch Caroline. Hello pawb, felly Nicola dwi. So I'm Nicola. I will do this session in English. I have done them bilingually before, so please bear with me. Caroline did mention we've had some technical issues. It's all down because I've started a new job this week. I've got a different laptop, and for some reason this laptop doesn't allow me to share the PowerPoint presentation. So I'll share the preview that I have in an email. You'll be able to see it. It just doesn't look as how I intended it to look, but the key messages are all going to be the same. So my aim for today is really, some of you might be coming to LinkedIn completely fresh and new and wanting to know where to start, and others might already be using LinkedIn but want just a bit of confidence or maybe some guidance. And I hope that you can just take at least one thing from today's session and start practicing it. And you might be inspired to do loads for your own personal branding, which also in effect will help the business that you're working in. So I absolutely loved working in social housing. So it's been a real honour being able to look after Wish, and I still feel like a part of Wish. So please don't forget about me. So I will start sharing the screen with you now. It should start any second. There we go. So I can see your face, Caroline. Can you give me the nod if you can see the presentation, or a thumbs up? Oh, lovely. Diolch yn fawr. So yes, unfortunately, my fonts and everything has been played around with. So if there's any graphic designers on here, this is not how it was intended to look. But there we go. We've got to deal with these things, and the messages, the key messages, are all going to be the same. So you've had a little bit of introduction about who I am. So I've got experience of working in different sectors, including housing, third sector, private sector. And yes, they're all different, and it's given me lots of different experience. But I've enjoyed all of them, and having a worthwhile experience in all of them has been able to give me a different perspective on how I share things online. I mentioned I'm a bilingual communicator, so Cymraeg and English. I'm a mother, a wife, and a runner. I'll speak a little bit more about that later. I am a big LinkedIn fan. I joined LinkedIn about 10 years ago. I wasn't convinced at the start. I was basically told I had to be on LinkedIn. That's where it was going to be. I had to go to a training room in a hotel off the A55 10 years ago to learn about LinkedIn. And I still wasn't convinced then, if I'm honest. And things have definitely changed since then. And I will explain why in a bit. And yeah, so I've worked in housing for nearly 3 years, literally just left. Hopefully, I can work in housing again one day because I really, really enjoyed it. And I have been a Wish board member, so really enjoyed that experience. And I would definitely, because all of you here are working in social housing or around social housing, if you get the opportunity to be on the board, definitely grab the opportunity with both hands. It's been amazing, an amazing experience, and you learn so much. So a little bit about the session today. As I mentioned earlier, I just want you to feel confident enough to give it a go. That may be your first post or commenting for the first time. It's going to be different to all of you on this call. I absolutely know that. So this is a bit of a general session on LinkedIn. You will look at social media differently, and LinkedIn is a bit different. Well, it's completely different actually to sort of Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You'll be a different person on LinkedIn that you are on your other social media accounts. You're your professional self on LinkedIn, and we'll again discuss a bit about that, what you're willing to share and who you are on there. So some of the topics we'll cover start at the basics, profile picture, cover picture. I get asked this quite often. Is this appropriate for a picture? What can I put as my cover? So we'll look a little bit about that. Your work experience, LinkedIn is your live CV. So we'll have a look. I'll share my own so you can see what I mean. And then getting personal, what are you willing to share on LinkedIn? It's not going to be the same as your other social media. And getting that balance right is really important. A lot of organisations now encourage staff to use LinkedIn. I will see why it's super important, and hopefully your organisations are supportive of this as well. And then the fundamentals, creating content, what sort of content, how often, and you might have heard about an algorithm, so we'll discuss that as well. So I appreciate some of you might be enjoying your lunch, so you can take what you need from this session today. I don't mind having a bit of fun at my own expense here. So profile pictures, do's and don'ts. So they're all pictures of me. So on the left-hand side, we've got that red cross. So those are 3 pictures that are not appropriate for LinkedIn. So the first one, I'm wearing sunglasses and a hat. So that's not appropriate because you can't really see my face there. And it's a holiday picture as well. So that's not really appropriate for LinkedIn either. Great for Facebook, not for LinkedIn. In another one, I've got a glass of wine, had a couple, I'm out in Liverpool, might like the picture, but again, it's not appropriate for your professional self. And the other picture, actually, I quite like it, but it's about 15 years old. So a lot of people will do this. They'll like a picture of themselves on LinkedIn and use it for years. But actually, when you're meeting people in real life, at conferences, meetings, you actually need to look like you as well, especially if you've been talking to someone and connecting with someone on LinkedIn for quite a while. You do need to look like yourself. It doesn't need to be like a dating thing, but you do need to look like yourself. And if you're using lots of filters as well, I'm not saying it does, it can look a little bit dishonest if you're trying to distort your picture to make yourself look amazing. Just be honest, really. So I've given 3 examples there of photos that I have actually used myself. And the one with the microphone is my current one because it was a professional photo taken at a conference where I spoke on a panel. So I love that picture. I think it says a lot about me, my personality. It's a professional picture. I love colours. So I like that one. And also the other ones, the one with the white background, the other one's got a blurred background. Try to keep the background quite plain. And then, yeah, just the headshot. Those two are selfies, and that's absolutely fine. Doesn't need to be a professional picture at all, really. Like taken by a professional photographer. You can do it yourself. So hopefully you can see the contrast there of which ones sort of works and which ones doesn't, and try to keep the picture sort of within the last 12 to 18 months to be current. I change my hair all the time. It's been up, it's been down. So I try to have the picture that reflects sort of how I look at the moment. Then that cover photo. This is a massive missed opportunity by a lot of people. And I am more than happy to share this document, Caroline, by the way, with anyone that wants a presentation afterwards. So that cover at the top, so mine at the minute, I'm a very creative person. I work in marketing and communications. So I think having a colourful one for me and a creative one, that sort of reflects who I am. Others are not using it at all, and others are using it to advertise their product, which is great as well, advertising their business. So it's important to keep this up to date as well. There's one there with a couple of people wearing masks from COVID. That needs to be updated because that's not reflective of now. And I've got a couple of examples that I like on there. So the TJ construction one, they've just got a photo of their fleet. And I think for that business, it absolutely works. And other sort of influencers, it's a selling space, isn't it? It's free space. So they use it to advertise who they are and what their products are. So there's lots of different ways you can do it. You can just upload a picture onto LinkedIn straight away and you can see what sort of fits there. Or if you like a bit of graphic design or you've got Canva or Adobe Express, you can get the exact size in there to sort of play around and get templates that you like as well. So just have something that reflects who you are and who you want to show to the world who you are on the professional platform. So again, keep it professional and not a holiday photo, that sort of thing. So your profile and your work. So this call is about boosting your own profile, but it's also in turn going to boost the profile of the organization you work at. So start off with your own profile. Have a little time to just go through it. Is it up to date? Does it reflect any courses that you've done recently, any qualifications? Are you a member of a board somewhere? You need that to be up to date because this is your live CV. And if you apply for a job anywhere, 9 times out of 10, they will look at your LinkedIn profile. And if you are looking for a job, excuse me, a little handy tool on here. You can see the bottom button there, resource. It says resources. If you click on that button, you can download your CV straight from LinkedIn. I wouldn't normally suggest doing that, but it's really good for you to do it just to have a look at all of your information. So it pulls in your work experience, your qualifications, any sort of memberships that you have. I'm a member of CIPR, so Chartered Institute of Public Relations. It pulls all of that together and creates a PDF document of your CV. So you might not have known that that's possible on LinkedIn. So have a look because that'll tell the story of your career basically. And if you are in a bit of a hurry and need a CV, well, it's great, But if you pay for premium, for example, it can tailor that CV. So if you're applying for a marketing role or if you're applying for a governance role, it can sort of help you. But it's a good place to start to get all of your ducks in a row. So I here have got experience. So that's all of the jobs that you've done. So, if you're working somewhere and get a promotion, you can sort of change it. So under ATRA, I started as marketing and communications officer. And then I'm still within ATRA. You can see that it's been moved up to senior marketing and communications officer. It actually tells a story of your career. So that experience bit is really important to keep up to date. So after this call today, I will update the board member for Wish, but I just wasn't quite ready to let go of that just yet. But that's there. And my education. So anytime I do a new qualification, I'll pop that on there. I did an ILM, so that goes on there. So take a look at your own, over lunch, if you get time, have a look. Is it all up to date? Because you can as well, under my job at ATRA, you can see more. You can write a little bit about what you do day to day there if you want to as well. So please populate it, you'll see, and click that resource button to see your CV just out of interest, because you can do that for other people as well. So if I wanted to see any of your CVs, I can go onto your profile and have a look at your CV that way. You may have been approached by your recruiter before. They will definitely do that when they're looking for someone to fulfill a role. So you might sometimes get a notification that a recruiter's looked at your profile. They will definitely use that button. So it's super important to keep that up to date. So getting personal, mentioned a few times already. You'll be a different person on LinkedIn to your other social media platforms. And what you share on LinkedIn is entirely up to you. So I think a good starting place is not what you will share. Why don't you just create a little list of things you are definitely not willing to share? So for me, for example, holiday pictures, pictures of myself and my husband, I don't share any of them really. It's not part of the professional brand that I'm trying to show. But I did say I'm a mother, and if it fits in with something I'm sharing, then I am happy to share those photos. I've given you a couple of instances where I have showed pictures of my children, and one of them was a post about working from home and the benefits of working from home. And I got a really good reaction. So I was able to have a snowball fight on the way to school, and I can go for a walk at lunchtime, take the dog out, that sort of thing. So it's relevant to my work because I was able to work from home after I had the hybrid working policy. And another one, do a little bit of running, and I'm really not fast, and my kids expected me to win every race when I started running. And the reality is, I'm in the last sort of segment of people. And the running post there, I think, it was my first half marathon 3 years ago. It was super hard and it took me absolutely ages. But you wouldn't say from that picture at the finishing line, I'm smiling and my kids are with me. I just wanted to show them, you can put your hard work in and you're not always going to win. But I want to see myself as a role model to them. You don't just do it for the wins, and wins look different to different people. For me, crossing that finishing line was a win. So I brand myself as a bilingual communication professional. So I'll post about that. That's part of my professional brand. I'll use running as part of my professional brand because I truly think that the discipline I learned from running and the endurance, I think it's important and it reflects a part of my professional self as well. And I really love bringing those together. So I'll write some articles about the benefits of running for my career, that sort of thing, how it helps my mental health. That's my me time. So yeah, I'll write about that. And I discuss other topics that affect my work. So that could have been working from home one day. It could be a new trend that comes up in marketing and communications or social housing. So, your content is not going to be for everyone, and you might not enjoy reading about me running, and that's absolutely fine. My content is not going to be for everyone, because if you try to appeal to everyone, you're not going to appeal to anyone, if you know what I mean. You need to find your sort of niche, find what you want to share. And it doesn't really matter if you don't appeal to everyone, because you are going to appeal to someone, and you'll actually build a network on LinkedIn based on those. So I've come across loads of communicators and marketers on LinkedIn that also love running. And I've got a group of people just from LinkedIn that I chat to now just about that. So finding balance, that is super important. One thing that was asked of me at ATRA was by some members of staff, I don't want to be seen going on LinkedIn during work because it's social media. And people were worried about that. But luckily, ATRA can see that it's a benefit when staff go on LinkedIn posting about the positive elements of their work. But what's that balance? How many times you post about yourself and how many times you post about the organization where you work. So I decided to ask an expert in this personal branding field. This is Amelia Sordell, for those that are unfamiliar with her. I've got her book actually, and it's a great place to start, and it's on Amazon. And she just tells you to just go for it. So I went on one of her webinars, and she actually answered one of my questions. I was a bit, girl fan on this call, so I took a screenshot of that. And my question was that, how many times? What's the magic number that makes it look acceptable to your organization that you are posting on LinkedIn? And she said for about 3 posts you write about yourself, write 1 about the organization that you work for. That doesn't have to be pure corporate LinkedIn post. It can be what about you have done in work or an event that you've been at work. So that's sort of the balance she suggested to make sure that your employer wasn't annoyed at you for posting on LinkedIn. But I think organizations are clocking on to this now, that it is super important. And I've got a few slides coming up about this as well. Oh my gosh, apologies for these slides, I'm mortified. So 84% of us are on social media. Okay, so businesses are accepting now that the staff are going to be on social media as well. It makes you and your business, it gives you visibility. There's customer engagement there. And you know what? It's cheap and actually free. You don't need to do any ads on there. It's the best B2B, so business to business platform. So be aware of who your target audience is on LinkedIn. So whether you're writing from your own perspective, or some of you on here might be working in comms and you're writing on behalf of your organization, be aware of who your target audience is. Are you writing to absolutely everyone? Then it's going to be super hard to write it. Are you writing to people that work in social housing? Are you working to fellow communicators? Are you writing to people in similar roles? That's going to definitely dictate the sort of tone that you use. This will be a completely different webinar, but if you're bilingual like myself, that brings a whole different element into it as well. But for those that are Welsh on this call, when you're writing as yourself, write in your most comfortable language. And for me, when I'm writing to sort of the communications network, I will write bilingually, definitely, but it'll be a bit more English at the top and then Welsh. But when I'm writing with anything to do with work, I'll flip it over and have the Welsh first. There's, no golden rule, but it's you at the end of the day, and you can dictate how you do that. So ensure that your business is a leader in the industry. So you are helping your business be a leader in that industry by having staff that shout about how cool it is to work there. Your business will see the value of you doing this work. So how often should you post? Every time I've seen any sort of webinar or article on this, they say that the golden rule is 3 to 5 times a week. But honestly now, if you can only do it once a week, that it's absolutely fine. Just make sure that it's a good post. It's definitely quality over quantity. Don't find any old rubbish just because you think, oh my God, I've only posted once this week. It's better to have one good post that you put real thought into it rather than just posting anything. But what's really weird sometimes is actually the posts that you don't give much thought to actually gets better engagement. I think we can get a bit too fixated on what to create, but people are just nosy. We're all nosy, aren't we? So if you can share a window into what you do, people will generally engage. And, don't be afraid to fail. I've got my own articles here on the left. Some of them have had thousands of views. Others have only had a couple of hundred. But it doesn't matter. I enjoy writing them and they're there for people to read. And they're all to do with the personal branding, things that I put on earlier that I'm reflecting. So things to do with my work, there'll be, there's one there about mentoring. There's one about surgeries on LinkedIn I've done at Atra. The most recent one I did was what dogs can teach us about communication. So that's definitely not going to be for everyone, but I enjoyed writing it. I love dogs and I love communication. And I just enjoy writing. it doesn't bother me that that's quite a niche one. I enjoyed it and some others might as well. But don't forget, even if you only get 100 impressions on a post, doesn't really matter, does it? If you were to speak in front of 100 people in a room, I'm sure you'd be quite nervous about it. So if 100 people read your article or see your post, that's good. It's better to have those 100 people engaged that are the right audience for you, rather than having thousands of views of people that are never going to be engaging with you again. So again, the quality over quantity is really important there. And just experiment. Don't be afraid to fail. Amelia Sordell says, if your content is rubbish, it's never going to be seen anyway. So there's no reason for you not to do it. Because a fact is, with this algorithm on LinkedIn, when you post, it'll share that post initially with 1% of your followers to see what sort of reaction it gets. So if that 1% engages, if they like it, they comment on it, they share it, they read the article, LinkedIn knows, oh, this is a pretty good post. So it's going to start sharing it with other people that you follow. And then those people are going to like it. And then people that you're not even connected to will see it. So it can be a slow burner. And that's why sometimes in your LinkedIn feed, you'll see stories that are 2-3 weeks old, maybe, because it's been a bit of a slow burner of people liking it. So don't worry about the algorithm. Create stuff that you're proud and passionate to create and share with the world. So the biggest takeaway from today's session: if you're willing to share your face, let your organization know. Because honestly, working in comms and marketing, having staff members that are willing to be photographed or filmed, honestly, they're worth their weight in gold. So please let your comms team know that you're willing to be photographed if you are. It'll benefit you because you're boosting your own profile, because you can post about it, what you've been doing, but also your organization will share that as well, and they'll remember you. And do you know what? When you say yes to stuff, you get loads of opportunities that come your way as well. So, but people want to socialize with people. So if you'll make yourself available to be that person, the face of your business, it's amazing. Okay, so faceless organizations are really going to fall behind with how business to business marketing is going at the minute. And I attended another webinar on this last week. Business marketing has totally changed, as well as personal marketing. People want to build trust, and trust is the most important KPI. You build trust with people that you recognize, because you build trust with people. So that's why faceless organizations, they're really going to be lagging behind. So staff members, as I said a few seconds ago, that are willing to share their faces and share their experiences, it's amazing. And if you don't enjoy where you work, it's not great to be on LinkedIn because you won't have much content. But if you love where you work, as I'm sure you do, you'll have loads of content, a day in the life of. People love stuff like that. So I'm aware of the time. I'll carry on through in case there's any questions. My biggest proof of this, sorry, some of this text is in Welsh, but both posts have got the same message in them. It's about booking meeting rooms at one of the places I used to work. One of them has got a picture of Daniela, who's an admin there, and the other one's just got a picture, no people in it whatsoever. But the engagement is completely different, as you can see on both posts. People react better to one with people. So if you can't see, because it's quite small, the one without a person in it got 9 engagements, and the one with Daniela in it got 3 times as many engagements. So she was willing to be photographed. So that's one proof. And another is we had a position in the comms team, a maternity cover. After I shared the post, it had 400 impressions. I shared it, it had 700. I had more impressions than Adra as an individual. It may not sound a lot more, but when you put those two together, it's well over 1,000 people. So if there's a job going in your organization, don't go sharing every single job, but share a job from your department, because that's the people that's going to be on your LinkedIn. I have comms and marketing people on LinkedIn. So it was, it made sense for me to share this to my network. So without that, organizations do tend to struggle. Your influence is massive as an individual to organizations. Without staff members sharing on LinkedIn, we would have lost 70% of engagement. So that's massive. So they really rely on staff. So one post from Atra here about a recent development that was completed got 15 engagements. Both project managers that we have working there received well over 100. One had over 100 and another had over 200 engagements on there. Exactly the same message, but they're from people and people respond to people. Yeah, they engage with people. So Atra, they were doing our jobs for us, these project managers and other members of staff that have worked on them. It's amazing. So what do you post? So I'll share this with you. There's a list here of ideas for you, and not every post is going to be successful. I've given you my most engaging post here that had nearly 5,000 impressions and another one that had nearly 500 impressions. Okay, so sometimes you just can't tell. But in that big comms hero one, I tagged loads of people, and that's how I got so many impressions, because the people I tagged started engaging. So that's a really quick tip if you want to boost your profile. Tag people to make sure that they see it. So there's behind the scenes footage that you can put down. Your job is probably more interesting to other people than you realise, and people are nosy. What does a week or month look like for you? Post about any training you've done or congratulate a colleague on their training. Thoughts on the new policy? Why not share it? You can write a post or an article. LinkedIn loves an article because it keeps people engaged for that bit longer. Have you been shortlisted for an award? You can reuse content. If you won an award a year ago, why not share that again? People are not going to remember. And you will also be gaining more new followers as time goes on. So some people will be seeing it for the first time. So if you haven't got time, please reuse. I'll quite often look through my photos and see where I was a year ago, that sort of thing. A really easy one right now. People are still doing the 2016 to 2026 comparisons, show where you were 10 years ago to now. There's absolutely loads of ideas here for you if anyone wants it. Don't be humble on LinkedIn. Be proud of what you've achieved, because you never know. You might not be looking for a job now, but you might be in the future, and this is the place where you can actually say how great you are. And why not? People are generally really positive back on LinkedIn. It's not like X or Twitter. You don't generally get trolled on there for being proud of yourself. So just make sure that you're visible. If you're not turning up on LinkedIn, you're not going to get any engagements. Start small. If you're not ready to create a post yet, just start commenting on other people's posts and build up from there. And the more you post, the more you'll be seen. Okay, so proof that it works. So I've been working on my LinkedIn profile for the last 2 years, really. But you can see for the last year, the graph just keeps moving up with engagements. And then I tested this with a colleague of mine at Atra as well. So she wasn't posting at all. And then we had a one-to-one session in November. And then she started posting with intent, Excuse me. So I've gone through those last few slides quite quickly, but what I'm trying to say is go for it. If it's rubbish, no one will see it. And you know what? It's really nice to look back over the last couple of years and see the growth that you've had. You'll see that post and think, what was I thinking? But actually, that shows growth, that you can see it wasn't the best post. So that's it. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now, and hopefully I've given everyone some sort of confidence or top tip just to give it a go and start sharing professionally.
Oh,
Over
fantastic.
to you.
Thank you so much, Nicola. That was really enlightening. I've got to admit, I wasn't quite sure what to expect from today because I'm not by any means an expert on LinkedIn. So I was listening intently, and I've certainly taken away a few top tips. I was scribbling down things you were saying as you were going, and I'm sure lots of other people on the call were too. We don't have any questions for you in the chat, Nicola, but would anybody like to ask Nicola a question? Pop a hand up if you would. Oh, I think we've got one. Jane. Lovely Jane.
I think Jane's
Oh,
clapping.
is it clapping? Oh, she's
Yeah,
clapping you. Sorry, I put you on the spot there, Jane.
it was the wrong it was the wrong clap.
Well,
Honestly,
thanks for the
that
clap, Jane.
that was really good because I've got to say that my LinkedIn profile is shocking. So I get where you're coming from. Maybe just start small before, really start to look at posting. But one, and I might sound really naive, but you talked about tagging.
Yeah. Yeah. So the tagging, Jane, is where you're trying to sort of you tag another person or organization in. So say now you wanted to tag Chloe Dallin in a post, you'd put the at symbol and start typing Chloe Dallin in, and their logo will come up. So you
Right.
click it. Then when you post that, Chloe Dallin, whoever's looking after your socials will get a notification that you've mentioned them in a post. But what's great about that, Jane, is anyone else that follows Chloe Dallin as well will also, your post will become visible to them as well. So you're opening it up not just from your own followers, but to Chloe Dallin followers as well.
Okay, I shall give that a go.
There we go.
Thank you.
No problem.
I've got a question, Nicola, for you. So I was thinking as you were speaking, you were really clear about, the difference you can make to your organization by posting on LinkedIn. So what's your thinking around sort of policy, guidance, permissions? What about if people don't feel like they have permission to do this, or should they feel like they have permission, or would you advise that your organization puts policies in place to say this is what we expect from you, or at least this is what you should and shouldn't do if you're going to be posting on LinkedIn and mentioning us as an organization?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And actually, that question was brought up by a few members of staff at ADRA. So what we did is we have a social media policy there. So we revised it because it was quite a few years old. And we changed the policy to include LinkedIn as an acceptable social media platform to use during work hours, and also how to sort of mention ADRA. So in a positive light, of course, and also not to be sharing any political stuff about yourself on your LinkedIn or other platforms as well. So it's full of guidance for people that are not sure what to do, so they can refer to it. People generally just come to me. I used to give out one-to-one sessions or sort of webinars at ATHA as well about it when the policy was updated, because people weren't aware of it. So I'd go and have a look at your policy, and if the organisation is willing, yeah, definitely update that, because it's such an asset, and there's lots of sort of evidence now to show that staff talking about the organisation is the best sort of marketing it can have, really.
Amazing. Thank you, Nicola. We've had a couple of hands pop up. So Rachel, I think you were first. Would you like to ask a question to Nicola?
Hi, yeah, thanks, Nicola. Loads of good, great tips there. Like you, Jane, my LinkedIn is shocking. That I'm a relative newcomer to LinkedIn as well. But my question's a little bit different, I think. I work for Clwyd Allen full time, but also we have a family business. And when I set my LinkedIn up, I merged them all together. Is that a bit of a mistake though, really?
So with a family business, you've got your own profile then. Did you sort of create a business page for your family business, did you?
No, so I just set myself up on LinkedIn and basically said,
Oh, okay.
that I work for Clwyd Allen, said, but also, sort of do
Ah,
this as
right.
well. And my post, virtually no posts. It's normally just sharing something that Clwyd Allen have done. Said, but
No, it's
I've got
absolutely fine.
some. Yeah, I
Yeah,
just
you
feel
can
like
do
it's a
that
bit. Yeah,
because that'll be in the list of things that you want to share about yourself, and it'll be in your work experience that you sort of got both. Yeah, go with that.
all
It's a
right. Yeah,
strength. It's a strength. But why not? And then you can tag your family business into that as well. But keep posting about both, and they're both things that are part of you. And your LinkedIn profile is you, isn't it? It's not Chloe Dallin. It's
yeah,
your LinkedIn profile, and don't forget that either.
yeah, yeah. No, that's good. Thanks.
Okay. And Claire, I think this might be the final question with time.
Nicola, that was brilliant. I missed the first couple of slides, so apologies if you covered this, but you gave us a few ideas about content, and maybe a mistake I always make is I see other people's content, I think, oh, that's really good, and when they've taken the photos, really interesting, or whatever. And I'm not very creative. So I was just wondering, how do you come up with these ideas for like new content or what people are going to be interested in? Or am I just overthinking it? Is it, like you said, people are interested in what people do day by day and just like strip it back to basics more?
Yeah, that's right. Because what's business as usual for you, Claire, will not be business as usual for other people, and they're probably going to find it quite interesting. But you don't have to be. I think because of the job I'm in, marketing and communications, I will look at things and think, oh, yes, that's content. So I realize that not everyone is going to have that sort of thinking as me. But just whatever I do, I take photos. So, and it doesn't even have to be a good photo, right? So you've always got a bank of ideas. And what I do is I got a notes app on my phone. So, because I forget stuff, but if I think, oh, that'll
Yeah,
be a good post, I'll just pop it
yeah.
in there because you've got the photo to
Mm,
go with it. And you can schedule these posts in because I spend quite a lot of time on LinkedIn, Claire. I can see, what's trending, what people are reacting to. And I think, oh, how can I, sort of get my post about what I'm doing today to sort of go with that trend. So you do sort of need to spend time on LinkedIn to
yeah,
find out what works, what
yeah.
you
No,
enjoy.
yeah, that makes total sense. So me dipping in and out for 20 minutes once a fortnight isn't going to quite cut it then, is it?
That's where people are learning about the industry at the minute as well.
Yeah,
Gen Z and millennials tend not to go on BBC News and that sort of thing. They go to LinkedIn and they follow CEOs, and that's how they learn about business and news and stuff. So the way we're digesting information changes as well. So if you can spare time to go and look at it, you will definitely learn loads on there as well.
brilliant. Deal, thank you.
Here we go.
Nicola. Just a couple of comments to pick up on in the chat. So Amy says, are hashtags a thing of the past now?
Yes, they are on LinkedIn. It might look aesthetically cool putting a couple of hashtags in, but they are phasing it out. People aren't really following hashtags on there anymore. So yeah, I forget about using them personally.
That's super interesting. And Sandy has said she was surprised at the 3-to-1 ratio. She hates talking about herself, especially online. She rarely ever posts about herself, so would be pushing herself to post 3 work, 1 personal ratio, not the other way around.
Flip it round. Try it that way if you want. 3 work, 1 personal, and then you might build your confidence up and you can flip it one day when you're ready.
Excellent. And following on from that, Caroline Hopkins has just said, can you do 3-to-1 ratio in one post?
Do you know what? Yeah, quite a lot of my posts will be about my own role was, what I was getting out of it myself, but also involving Adra. A lot of my posts I'll be wearing Adra clothing, but it's actually what I brought to the team, what I organised. And so, yeah, I said, forget being humble. Yes, you can bring it all together. Absolutely.
Fantastic. Thank you, Nicola. Diolch. If there's no further questions for Nicola, one final chance, anyone?
But I'm very happy to share the presentation so you can digest it at your own time because you might want different bits from it. And that list of content ideas might be useful for some of you if you're not sure where to start. So yeah, more than happy for that to be shared out, Caroline.
Oh, thank you, Nicola. That's fantastic. And this session, I should have said at the start, has been recorded. Sorry, that was my omission. And it will be available on the Wish website for members. If you're not a member of Wish already, please think about joining us and spread the word as well to your colleagues and your friends. We'd love to see you at our next event, which is in March, which is our International Women's Day event, which is always a really fantastic day in our Wish calendar. So we look forward to seeing you then. If anybody's interested in joining Wish, as Nicola said, becoming a board member is a wonderful opportunity and a great thing to post on your LinkedIn page as well. So if anybody does have an interest in becoming a board member, please do get in touch with any of us on the Wish North Wales board. We'd love to hear from you. Wishing you all the very best. Diolch yn fawr. Have a lovely rest of your day and we'll see you very soon.
Diolch fawr. Thank you. Ta-ra.
Yeah, bye.